Welcome to Be a Voice. This is Brick Carpenter, and I'm Usula Media. Thanks for joining me today. As we continue on with our theme of switching gears, it's been a really great season so far because every episode we've had some really amazing individuals who've been able to share their story and become raw and become real. And one of the things I love most about having people from my world share their stories, and when I say my world, the recovery world, is that we are raw, we are real. We say things that are pretty much the truth because we've been led to believe that the truth is going to set us free. And I'm really excited to be sitting here today with my guest that I've been waiting to get on here for a while because there's so much to unpack. I'm not even quite sure we could do it all in one episode. But today I'm sitting here with a fellow in recovery. I'm sitting here with Anthony Wilson. Hey, Anthony, how are you?
Hey, how are you? I'm great.
I'm doing well, too. Thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah. I'm glad I was able to make it.
I'm glad you were, too. I know you're a busy man. I know you were able to squeeze some time. And I know this is a little bit because you're coming across the bridge from Jersey to get here.
Yes. Maple Shade. Yeah.
Maple Shade. Mm-hmm. And that's like...
it's like sandwiched perfectly in between Cherry Hill and Morristown. So...
Okay.
Burlington County, but basically County. Yeah,
I gotcha.
Yeah,
not that far. So is that the Coney Bridge, the Coney?
Yep,
the Coney Bridge.
Coney, yep.
Not the Betsy Ross. The Coney.
You could take the Betsy Ross if you're feeling it, but Coney's right there.
Betsy Ross sort of just drops you in the middle of a neighborhood. It's so weird. It's such a weird
right
bridge
in the
to
construction.
Take. Yeah, I stick with the two bridges I know: the Waltham and the Ben Franklin. If I have to go anywhere north from there, I'm in trouble because I just don't follow directions very well.
There's
and
so many bridges.
Like there are. Like there really, and people don't realize that either. Getting from Jersey into PA, and you got to pay leaving Jersey.
Oh yeah,
that's crazy. Mm-hmm. I'm not quite sure if you're paying leaving Jersey or paying to get into PA. I'm not quite sure it is, but
probably to leave Jersey.
To leave Jersey,
there's an exit tax. So.
It's like your penance to leave Jersey. But anyway, so I'm so glad you joined me here. You are also a person in long-term recovery. Mm-hmm. How many years you got?
A little over 6.
That's great.
Yeah.
6 years for somebody in recovery is like a lifetime almost, you know?
Yeah.
It's almost like once you hit that like 3 to 4 year mark, you're almost like, oh, I could do this.
Yeah.
This is pretty good.
Oh yeah. I mean, it blows my mind every single day.
So a little over 6 years.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then we're gonna take it all the way back. Where are you from originally?
Collingswood, New Jersey.
Oh, you are from New Jersey.
I am from New Jersey.
So
yes.
Born, raised.
Yes. Did not get sober in Jersey.
Did not get sober.
Yeah. But I am back.
But you came back after you got sober.
Yeah. I did the thing that most people say they'll never do is go back to Jersey once you leave. But
I'm from the Allentown area. I said I'll never go back.
Yeah.
And I won't. And I get that so much. Yeah. But Jersey's not so bad.
No.
It's got a very large recovery community over there.
A huge recovery community, and it's just conveniently located to everything. So hate it all you want, but it's convenient.
Plus you got all the bridges to get across.
You got all the bridges, you got the Poconos, you got the shoreline, you got 3 different major cities all within an hour and a half. It's convenience.
It's convenient.
Yeah.
It really is. And I've got nothing against it. Jersey's great. I can get over there. I can take the train from Jersey to New York, no problem. Mm-hmm. But 6.5 years is a long time. Mm-hmm. 6.5 years is a long time of life, especially for people who are coming out of substance use disorder. Mm-hmm. A week is a long time.
Oh yeah.
For us. So if I could take us way back to then, what was the drug of choice that you did? Or what was it?
It was everything.
Everything.
It started with just drinking on the weekends, blacking out, justifying it with being a straight A student and varsity athlete. And then it was weed. And then I was prescribed Adderall. And that was like my little concoction of innocence, for a while.
Drinking weed and Adderall?
Yeah, that was it. And I was like, I've arrived. I'm good. I could do this for the rest of my life. The doctor said so.
Yeah, doctor prescribed this, so I'm okay.
Yeah. And then, anyone who isn't familiar with the disease of addiction, it's progressive, right? So, gets worse, never better. And that was my case, surprise, surprise. And I got harder into opiates and benzos when I was around 20 years old. And immediately, everything just, vanished.
No, I know that.
I went right on that hamster wheel.
The minute you said opiates
know?
and benzos, I'm like, we could have been really good friends. you
Oh
know?
yeah, for sure. We probably were friends. We just didn't remember.
We just didn't know, yeah. Or we were acquaintances who thought we were good friends because we were doing drugs
Passerbys.
together, you know?
For sure.
You know, and it's funny. I'm really glad that you said that. A lot of people in recovery or that are in, you know, working their recovery that have gotten themselves out of their addiction, they don't talk about addiction as being a disease. A lot of people don't say that. We just sort of say, you know, we were in addiction or we're recovering addicts or however you say it. You never say disease. And to have somebody say that is very refreshing, especially somebody who's in it. So did you realize that, you know, addiction was a disease while you were in your active addiction, or was it afterwards where things started to like fall into place for you and understanding
I mean, that's a great question. I always knew there was something different about me, but I had no idea that what I suffered from, right? Like, I think that's a big reason why most of us don't ever try and find a solution, because we're spending so much time trying to find our own solution, right? So like, I mean, like I didn't, to answer that, I didn't understand what I suffered from until I surrendered to the fact that I didn't know. So,
And you started at a young age in high school.
yeah, like 13 or before high school, like middle school.
Around I did middle school, 8th grade was when I started
8th grade
to
summer.
experiment.
Yeah.
And
We got
realized I really liked it.
Yeah.
It wasn't an experiment anymore.
Loved
it was
the
almost
effect
like,
produced by it. Yeah. And there were no consequences, and it was a party. It was a lot of fun in the beginning,
It was.
you know?
So you were how many years in active addiction?
From 13 to 25.
All right, so that's a long part of your growing up, your adolescence, your
Right.
pubescent years and all that. And, you know, 25 is that pivotal year where people start to really discover themselves and find out, you know, who they are and things along those nature.
Yeah.
So to be able to get out of an active addiction at the age of 25 is really saying you have a great life ahead of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of what happened. Like, there wasn't some like bright light experience for me. I wish, I mean, both my parents are addicts. I grow up, it's like a bondage in my family tree. Like, it's a very prevalent thing. And, you know, I always told myself I'd never be like my dad. I'd never be like my dad. And my mom was married to an alcoholic on her like third marriage, right? And that's where I would just bounce from house to house, right? So like, I didn't really understand what was going on, you know? I just knew that I wasn't going to be my dad, and I needed like, and that school was like my home away from home to get out of like the toxic household that I didn't even realize was toxic because I grew up in it, right? I just know I wasn't comfortable there, right? And that was kind of where alcohol and drugs came in. I just always knew I didn't fit in. Like, I always was like bouncing here, there, everywhere. Like, I could be like, people talk about it in the rooms, like a chameleon, right? Like, I could fit in anywhere, you know. I needed to be well liked. You know, I
love that real quick. You said you needed to be well liked.
Oh yeah.
So
sure.
you had that yearning for acceptance.
Yeah, because I didn't have it. Like, my father wasn't in my life. My mom was like my best friend, but like, it's different. Like, when you don't have like your dad and your, you know, like for me anyway, like it was different. Like, not having like an inspiring father figure in my life. You know, he was like, he would be here. It would put a lot of confusion in my life, and I soon would have to unpack that in later years to be like, why am I operating the way that I'm operating with certain people and showing affection the way that I am with people? And you know, he would show up for holidays and then vanish. Like, get me my Christmas presents, show up as super dad. I would love it because I got things, and that was like, you know, a void filler. And then he'd vanish, and I'd get resentful again, right? And you know, that was just kind of how I grew up. Like, and then I'd be home with the stepdad and lacked so much gratitude, even though he gave me like a roof over my head, because I would just point out all of, you know, his shortcomings. And that's what young kid, you know, I was young.
You're not my father.
Yeah, you're not my father. But like, he's giving me a place to live and paying for like all my sports equipment. And you know what I'm saying? Like, just let this random kid in, and married my mom. And, you know, my mom, she never, you know, she did the best she could with what she had. So it was just like, it just was what it was, right? Like, the cards I was dealt were what they were for a reason, right? Like, and it wasn't until I got sober that I understood that there was purpose behind what I went through, you know? And now I utilize that and show other people like, hey, like this, I get it, you know, I understand what you're going through right now, but I can promise you, if you do X, Y, and Z, it will get better, right? And that was something I always yearned for. I was like, what is my purpose? Like, what is it? I would never be able to figure it out. And then through getting sober, like, and connecting spiritually with something, I was able to finally, get in the driver's seat, like take my seatbelt off, it's like a kid who like just like hit the curb parallel parking. Like, all right, like I'm done trying to park on my own. Here you go, God, like take care of this for me.
It's in your
I get
hands
like,
now.
I don't touch the stereo when I get in the passenger seat. I just sit, put my seatbelt on and shut up, and that's kind of what it was for me. But like at the time of me getting sober, it was like, I'm out of options. I'm done trying to figure it out. I'm going to shut up and put my seatbelt on and see where the ride takes me. Right. And that's kind of where it started.
Interesting. Really interesting. That's so you were an athlete too.
Yeah.
What sports?
Oh, the weird sports. I always said that. Like I wasn't the wrestler. I wasn't the basketball player. I was the VAR. I put us on the map for all the weird sports. Like I was good at soccer. I was really good at bowling. Everyone made fun of me for that.
I took bowling one and two as
like
college electives.
I was like ranked in the state.
You kidding me? Bowling. Anytime you want to go, let's do it.
Yeah. And,
you were ranked in the state?
I was ranked in the state of New Jersey.
As a teen bowler?
Yeah. As like a high school bowler, I was ranked like.
Were you nerdy?
I wasn't.
Okay.
When I was young, I was a heavier kid, and I would do like Pokemon cards. I was really, really smart. Like I was very intuitive. So like, and all the isms like were definitely there looking in hindsight. I would spend hours trying to put together like Pokemon decks. I know if anyone's watching this, they know what the heck I'm talking about, or Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh was a huge card game back then. And I would spend hours getting the best cards and like figuring out how to win. And I was a psychopath. I'd be up like at 5 a.m. doing this stuff. And then bowling was something I picked up because I was like heavier and I like, I started bowling and I would spend hours upon hours upon hours doing it until I was one of the best. I was in like a magazine and all this crazy stuff.
Did you wear the wrist brace? And
I know
all
that's
that?
only for people who don't have strong wrists.
Exactly. I just didn't know if that was,
like Grandma Gertrude.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
On her Sunday morning league.
Yeah. Did you have your own bowling bag and
everything?
everything?
Oh yeah. I still have like 3 bowling balls that
Do you really?
I'll just go in for fun now.
So you'd still bowl?
Yeah, and I actually help coach the Collingswood High School team now as like kind of a way to get back to my alma mater.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, I really
was
don't
it an
have time
escape
to
for
do
you?
it.
Was that an escape for you?
It was because it was like instant gratification, right? Because I love that, and then like just like knowing that it was this is a good one. It was a solo sport, and I loved being in control. That's why the other sport I was really good at was tennis, and I was first singles and captain. So I was like, no one, I can't blame. Soccer was tough because like there was a whole team you had to rely on, and I never really sat well with me. But I was like, for tennis and bowling, like I can only beat myself up. I can't beat anyone else up. That's how I always looked at it.
It's interesting you say it because a lot of the people I know that were in active addiction and played sports the same way, not very good at team sports. Playing as part of a team, it's one of the reasons that, people who are in addiction, they isolate a lot because they like to be by themselves. So to find, whether it was running like a cross country or something where they can get in their own head, bowling, you get in your own head. Yeah. And bowling is a sport. I need people to know that. It was an elective that I took at college for phys ed. It was my phys ed elective twice. I'm telling you, I loved it. My favorite class. It was great. Yeah. But then again, you could go to the bowling alley, you could drink and bowl. You know,
Yeah.
What better way to spend a Thursday night at college? In East Stroudsburg. Hello,
100%.
So it was always cool. I'd love to hear that you bowl. That's going to be a different show and a different time. We're just going to go bowling. I love that. So you don't get a chance to do it too often anymore. No. How about soccer?
Oh no.
No.
That was mainly to get me in shape for tennis.
Well, and you mentioned that, you had a way to shoe in. It's something that you're very open about, that you struggled with some issues with your weight growing up. Can you share a little bit of that with me?
Yeah. I mean, it's still like a thing, I think it's just kind of the way my brain works. The same way I look at alcohol and drugs is the same way I look at food. I didn't understand, like I said, what I suffered from. I didn't like people, they think the disease is like something that is, like cancer or something, but no, it's like a disease of the mind.
Yes.
And like my thinking is so skewed and I cannot control that. So like in the beginning, I would love food. Food was like my first love. If like my parent, like my mom I was a really hyperactive kid. And my mom would give me like chocolate or whatever or candy for when I got home. She'd say, sit down, do your homework. And that was my positive reinforcement, So from the gate, I had a really bad relationship with food. My dad, when I would visit him on the weekends, I'd have a Turkey Hill iced tea and Tasty Cakes Saturday morning before bowling.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Right. But like not even realizing it wasn't until I started getting bullied that I was like, oh, my weight's a problem. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't understand. I was young. And then, I finally started to exercise and I started to run and things like that. And even today, it was, today I struggle with food sometimes. I just understand how my brain works. I love the effect produced by sugar and flour and,
all the shit that's bad for you. Yeah. All the shit that makes us heavy, that makes us say, when we look in a mirror, I don't want to look like this anymore.
Yeah.
But I can't give up my ice cream. I can't give up my pizza.
It's my safe space.
Yeah.
It's like my reward.
You got to find a
good,
balance.
Bad. Yeah. Balance is hard when you have a brain like mine.
I can appreciate that.
I wish I could find balance for just doing drugs on the weekends, but
amen to that.
It just doesn't work like that.
I don't know if I could ever find balance to shooting heroin ever.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah,
I tried it.
I'd be sitting there like, okay, when's the next one ready?
Right.
Are we ready?
Yeah, it's impossible.
Yeah, it is. But weight is something that I think, any type of addiction and having an issue with weight, and getting in your own head about it, whether it's body dysmorphia or something along those lines, that's an addiction too, because then you focus all your energy and efforts into bettering your body.
Right.
And get better yourself. So here you are at a young age, you're getting bullied, you're getting picked on by kids, not really wrapping your head around all this. What was that pivotal point that you said, you know what, I need to do something about my weight?
I would say it was 8th grade.
Okay.
My mom was super controlling, typical Italian mom. I was her youngest, so she would dress me. She'd put me, you're wearing this. Where I would wear sweatpants up until 8th grade. I would wear matching sweatsuits. I was all about the school. I didn't care what I looked like. It wasn't until 8th grade summer that I lived across the street from Knight Park, which is in the middle of Collingswood. I could literally walk across the street and run around the park. So that's what I started to do. I started to run around Knight Park, and then a good alcoholic and addict, I took it to the extreme, and I knew that I wanted to fit in, right?
Okay.
And I ran until I could fit into my first pair of jeans, and then I went to American Eagle and got my first pair of jeans, and I was super excited. I was I had to be like the cool kids.
That's
what I'm
awesome
saying?
though.
Yeah, I mean it's funny that we're going back to that. It's not something I usually revisit, but that is, and that was I guess when I got into sports too. I played sports in middle school and stuff, but I knew in high school once I figured it out freshman year, I needed to lock in until senior year. That was my goal. So
did you struggle with the weight then through your high school?
No, I was also prescribed Adderall, so that was probably
Adderall.
I didn't know that I was so skinny.
The wonder pill.
Yeah. It definitely worked wonders.
Yeah, absolutely. In more ways than it should have.
I don't really remember anything while I was on it, but I definitely got A's.
You're sort of living in a dream, or blur.
Crazy.
Or a zone, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, it was.
So being a person that is in recovery, and being a person who has had a history of athletics in your life, are you a competitive person?
Oh, of course.
I knew this. I knew the answer. I just wanted to hear you say it.
Yeah.
You're competitive by nature.
Oh, 100%.
Has it always been this way, or is it something that
always?
Since
the beginning, I hated to lose.
Mm-hmm.
I was a sore loser for a very long time. I was a sore loser, but I would come back and kick your ass. It didn't matter what it was. I would spend it was on. I would always push myself to the extreme. But thank God for some type of program of action for myself, in recovery, because you can't just be, I can't just be sober. I have to be in recovery, aka I need some type of program
Yes.
that I can abide by so that I can, be a better human being, since it's not really the alcohol or the drugs that's the problem. It's my thinking, and I didn't, not to get off tangent, but I'm just as crazy when I'm not doing drugs and drinking than when I am.
I hear that.
And that's really scary. So yeah, I mean, I was a sore loser when I first got sober, and that was something I had to, work on with,
the fuck do you mean you have a year? I'm going to get a year soon.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yep.
And you old man, you got 10 years in your cigarette.
And you know what it was when I got down to causes and conditions? It was, I was insecure. I had insecurities, fear. I didn't want to know what it felt like to lose. And also, if we really get down to it, a lot of abandonment issues, so when you have that kind of foundation from an early age, for like myself, then you don't want to feel anything negative, especially losing, because it's like, it feels like you've been abandoned, in some sort of way.
Feels like you've been losing your whole life, and then all of a sudden you need to win.
Right. Yeah.
You need to put yourself on that pedestal because nobody else is going
100%. Yep.
And usually when we do that, we set ourselves up for a little bit of disappointment somewhere along the line.
For sure. Yeah, Yeah.
That's that A-type personality.
Oh, 100%.
And that can really be damaging. And I think a lot of people that suffer from addiction have that type of personality, and that's sort of what leads them down that, that brings that disease on. So you said both your parents still around?
My mom passed away when I was 20. I would say it was from an indirect result of this disease. I found her dead when I was 20. She was 54. She went to go take a nap, and I heard her die in the other room, but I had a friend over at the time. I was helping with a college course. I heard a noise, and I held that over my head for a while because I thought I was God and I could have intervened if I, that survivor's guilt. And my dad, he's still alive. He will turn 70 in November. My stepfather's still alive.
Your dad's a Scorpio?
I guess.
What's his birthday?
November 17th.
Yeah, he's a Scorpio.
Yeah.
I'm a Scorpio. That's why I know that, Scorpios, there's a certain
Is that why
bond
we don't
there.
get along?
What's that?
Is that why me and him don't get along?
I don't know. It depends. It depends. There's probably a hell of a lot more than just the Scorpio part of that you don't get along, but you can leave with that. I mean, a lot of people will say that, oh, you're a Scorpio. I get it,
Yeah.
Is he still an addiction, active addiction?
So my dad is like the white knuckle king. I share about this a lot. He started doing drugs when he was 30, when he met my mother. My mom was like a crazy, from what I've heard, just like a maniac at one point. And she was real pretty, and she was a dancer at one point, and the youngest as well. So she was the youngest, and I didn't find out until after she passed that, from my aunt, that she was she struggled, being the youngest. She would get in fights. She was like a tomboy kind of. She definitely had some issues and didn't really, growing up, you know what I'm saying? And so my dad got into drugs. He had all the isms though, from what I can tell, what I'm told. He had multiple properties. He was really high up in Walmart when it first opened, no college education, multiple different cars. Back then that was a big deal, and then he started doing coke with my mom, and he's been suffering ever since. Almost 40 years later, he gets a couple years sober, and then it could be you understand, if you don't have a defense against the first drink or drug, which is AKA the first thought that puts that into motion, you're a sitting duck. You can be abstinent all you want, but if you don't have a solution to your problem that you've actively sought out, you're going to use again. Period.
You need to have a plan in place.
Yes.
It has to be there. People
there has
don't
to
get
be
that.
something separating you from the first drink.
Absolutely. And
right?
people are always saying, oh, I don't know how you do it. Oh, I can tell you how I do it.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of, like you said, planning. You've got to have that in place, knowing it. Because if not, it's pretty easy to go get a drink or, right down the street to get whatever you want,
We're
know.
emotional beings and we act on emotion, and our emotions are pretty, I'll speak for myself. My emotions are, they're pretty strong. They're pretty emphasized, more than normal people. I'm a really hyper emotional individual, and my dad, he'll get like a couple years sober and then he'll burn his whole life to the ground in a weekend, and now he's 70 and like he, his last relapse, I was living with him.
Oh,
I was living with him. I was like not ready to buy a house yet. This was like 2 Christmases ago. And, I found out that he like relapsed, and I was like, wow, like I got to get out of this. Like, this isn't good, and, I prayed because, my relationship with God is the most important thing in my life. Mm-hmm. And I was like, God, like I know this is happening for a reason. I'm not going to be in my pity pot. Like, what do I need to do? Show me the next thing. Mm-hmm. And long story short, I ended up buying my first house. I had like no money saved. I literally slept on my mattress with my dog. And I had no idea like how I was going to afford it. Like, I ended up getting grants from the state. Like, I knew I'm in real estate. So like I know how to do all the little bells and whistles and loopholes. And I somehow got approved for a loan. There was so much that had to go into it. And from there, like I was terrified, but I knew it was like, when you're convicted, like you're like, this is what I'm supposed to do, but I can't see the next step. Mm-hmm. That was where I was at. And it's so scary. Like, it's like when I first got sober, I was like, I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm in Livingren. I've never been here. I got dropped off. I literally couldn't see. I didn't have contact lenses. Like I came with a little drawstring bag, 3 hours late.
More than a lot of people go there with,
Right. And like, I was like, I don't know what the next steps are, but I remember before I went into treatment, I was the same thing. It was like, I felt convicted. I said, I can't do this anymore. I need help. And I genuinely meant that when I was walking home after getting high for the umpteenth time, and it was maintenance at this point. I was walking home. There was nothing crazy that was going on in my life. I was working the restaurant job. I was just living to get high and getting high to live, right? So like,
vicious cycle.
Yeah, that was like where I was at that point. And I knew that when the person who got me into treatment reached out to me, I knew I had to go. Like, I was like, I gotta do something different. I don't know what that different is, but I have trust, because my prayer just was answered in a few short weeks with no money, nothing. I had nothing. And it was it's like the same situation. Like, thank God for those situations, because it reminds me that like, I'm not in charge, and that there's a bigger picture for everything that I may not understand, but I need to be a part of. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're like that little piece of the puzzle, and you're like, well, how is that going to make the puzzle look like that? And it's like, well, you're just a little piece.
Right.
It's a 500-piece puzzle. You're not that important.
When the rest of them all come into place, you'll see it.
Right. You'll see exactly what it's supposed to be.
Let go of that control.
Right. But you have to go in the right spot and get in your, know your place.
Right.
And that's kind of like where I was at. And, he's still sober, but, he just won't really give a program of action a try, and I've learned to accept that. My stepfather, same thing. He still drinks, and I love him. I've learned to forgive him. Mm-hmm. I show up for him. I get to show up for him every day, even though we've had really terrible interactions with one another over the years, to where I was extremely resentful at him. But I've learned to give grace and forgive and have love and tolerance, and, on my best day. And, I get to show up for him today.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So before we started, the podcast, we were talking, and you had mentioned in New York, when you were in New York.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that. You ended up in New York, which is out of all places to go.
Yeah. I didn't have anywhere to go, actually. I had a charge against the state for putting my hands on my father.
In New Jersey.
Yeah. So I was, my mom died in 2014. I got introduced to Percocets shortly after that, because that's how that works. When you're in a really dark space and alcohol doesn't do it anymore, you need something stronger. And the universe knew that I needed something stronger, right? Just like it, you could attract light, and you can also attract darkness with darkness, right? And that's where I was at. And my life went really to crap. My dad was actually in the place that I ended up going to at the time, doing his geographic change, which people in the the program understand, or people in recovery, they understand of like thinking that like that's the problem, but really we're taking us wherever we go. And that's what he did. He had a couple years sober, and I started needing money for things. I still had my car at the time. I would get a DUI shortly after this and then lose my car and not drive for 5 years. But yeah, so things weren't that bad yet. Long story short, I painted this beautiful picture for him. He was up in the Bowery Mission, which is where I would end up going.
Okay.
Which is a homeless shelter.
I know Bowery
on Bowery
very well.
Street. Yeah.
Yes.
And so he was there. He was like driving trucks for them, build a life up there. Still super insane, like looking back on it, like no solution has been found, no peace, like there's no serenity, there's, it's just like an individual who has a problem with alcohol and drugs removed from that, and that's it, right? And long story short, I was manipulating him, like, making him understand that he needed to be a father figure in my life because I wanted his money, right? And he would send me money for this, send me money for that. Like, I get a flat tire every week, like, what do you mean?
The best thing about
You're
being
sending me $200 every week for my Kia. My tires aren't that expensive.
really good at lying and manipulating.
I was not a good person. But long story short, I was like, I actually need the source here, because if I can have him live here, then I can live with me from New York, even though he doesn't have a car. I knew what I needed to do. Long story short, I had the logistics in place.
Right.
I ended up getting him to leave New York and come live with me. And we get this really crappy studio apartment in not a great location. I'm not driving. I call his old boss for him. He gets the work van, goes back to commercial cleaning, and he quickly sees that I am getting high. Like, very obvious. Mm-hmm. And then he relapses. And long story short, like, things go to crap really quickly, and I get a lot of charges. I get a DUI, and I ended up having nowhere to go. I got kicked out, and he's like, "I'll take you to the Bowery Mission." I was like, "I don't want to go," but I knew I needed to do something, because I just was completely blindsided by how powerful this disease is. Like, it is really powerful. And I went. He drove me up there, and I didn't have anywhere else to go, because it was either that or the streets. I burned all bridges at this point, because that's what we do. You can only manipulate and steal so many times from someone before they're done with you. And,
Absolutely.
That's kind of like what I did with all the people that were closest to me. And so I go to the Bowery Mission, and in order to not be on the streets, you have to be in their shelter and help the homeless.
Yes.
So that's what I did for like a year and a half, I think. Yeah. But
little service going on.
Yeah, it was cool. I learned a lot about God. It was really cool. I was super out of my comfort zone. There was a lot of humility attached to it, because I thought I was so much better than these people who came off the street, when like really I was someone who would have been on the street, like I had no home to call home. I didn't have a license anymore. Like I was like a unmarked person. And I start, I'm tallying my days on my bunk bed. Like I have it like next to my locker, like taped, tallying the days. And that's excruciating. I'll tell you that.
The little hash marks?
Yeah. Like, how many days do I have now? How many days, like I was a psycho. I didn't know what I suffered from, and back then that was like 2016, I think. 2016. Pretty sure. And I didn't know what I suffered from, right? So like I end up getting high. I take the Chinatown bus back home to get like 1 perk 30 or 2, I think I got. And
perk 30 is more expensive than Chinatown bus.
Right. Yeah, they were.
Yeah.
Even back then. Mm-hmm. And said I was going to church, and I did that, and then nothing happened, right? And then I drank, and then nothing happened. And then something happened, right? Because it's like the worst thing that people say that can happen to someone who's relapsing is nothing. Mm-hmm. And that was like completely the case for me. I just didn't know. I was like, I love God. Like, I'm doing all this service work for people. Like, I'm good, but there was no works. Faith without works is dead. There was no works, and I was a sitting duck. you know, and I relapsed multiple times.
2016, end of 2016, beginning of 2017, I actually did work at the Bowery Mission.
Oh, wow.
With a friend of mine, Joshua Combs, through Lisa Dream Sleep Gallery. They would donate mattresses and stuff like that. And they were really big with the Bowery. As a matter of fact, we went up there. He used to do haircuts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we would do service work.
Yeah.
So it's funny you say that. And that was around the end of 16, beginning of 17, like January, February of 17.
I can't pinpoint exact dates, but I did end up going up to the East Harlem location, which is on 112th and 2nd.
That's way up.
I was living there, and I ended up relapsing, and they sent me to like a sister program in Bridgeport, Connecticut. So I stayed there for 30 days. And
They just kept pushing you further and further.
Yeah. I had nowhere else to go. But at this point, my mom had lawsuit money. And I got tens of thousands of dollars, and I thought I was good. Like, I've arrived. But my best thinking was, let me buy like a new watch, and, you know, I'm in New York. Let me go to the designer stores. Like, first of all, I should have been reinstating my license. I could have got an apartment. That's how insane I was. Yeah. I was not restored to sanity. I had not done any work on myself, right? And that's why it's so hard to be a dry drunk, or, you know, like just someone removed from the drug of choice. Yeah. Like, we are still just as nuts. And that was me, you know?
If not more nuts.
You know? Yeah, I was, if not more nuts, right?
I think people don't realize that.
Right. Like, I would go and feed like homeless people with like cheeseburgers from McDonald's with the money that my mom left me. And then I would go to like the Burberry store and buy a $500 shirt to justify the good works that I did. That's how nuts I was. Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm walking everywhere.
It's that entitlement stage. We all go through that in
so much
in
ego.
Addiction. There's so much entitlement, and we think that, you know, we're owed something.
Yeah.
Well, we did well.
Yeah.
I'm owed whatever.
And I think what it was is I was just so excited to like not be in complete bondage of alcohol and drugs. It still had me, but I was getting a couple months here, a couple months there, and I was like getting a taste of like, you know, I was also using like exterior things to try and fill an interior void, and it felt good, and then it wore off, right? And and I was right back to the races in like I think 2017, and then I went on another 2-year run until I got sober in 2019.
What's your date?
July 15th.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, in the summer. How did that happen? I must have been really screwed.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, at least mine was October 28th, right before winter, because I knew I needed to do something.
That's coming up. Yeah.
Yeah. So
you know it's bad if I had to get sober in the summer.
Not many people do that. Most people go back to it in the summertime. It's like, oh, it's nice out. I could do that.
Yeah, I could be on the street at night.
I could handle that.
Trust me, that was what I normally would do, you know, but something intervened and I was finally ready.
Did you have a relationship with God then?
I had a great relationship with God for the most part. You know, the religious aspect of God really was the kicker for me. Like, that was really hard. It was difficult, you know. Religion is tough for me, but when I actually got sober this time, I understood that I was deemed a viable relationship if I chose to seek it with God. And that was the pivotal moment that completely altered the trajectory of my life. I started to understand that, like, God is like my best friend. No matter how many times I've messed up, he's always there to pick me up and brush me up, you know, and be like, hey, you know, do better next time. You know, you got this, you know, and like, I didn't understand that I was deserving of that. But I always knew there was something greater. I always knew, like, I was exposed to it, like, even like in high school, but I was just so in self. I was in like a discovery phase too. Like, we're young, you know, like I didn't grow up with religion. I didn't grow up with God. My mom prayed behind closed doors, you know, like she didn't really, no one pushed it on me. I wasn't a CCD kid, you know, and looking back on it, like, it was exactly how it was supposed to be, because my relationship with God now is so personal. It would have never been able to be like that, I think, if I had to unlearn.
Because you're very Christian.
Yeah.
Very Christian, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
On many levels.
Yes.
That you are very Christian. When
Yeah.
I say very Christian, you're Christian.
Yes.
You're up there.
Yes.
And coming from the walk of life that we come from, and other parts of our lives, that's very interesting. That you are,
So, for example, we'll dive into that. So, I was super resentful at the Bowery because they're a Christian-based space, and I am a gay man, and that was a huge. In the beginning, I didn't understand. I would get really resentful, right? Like I didn't have I didn't have any understanding. So, I was like, oh well, like I was a victim. I was like, oh, you're worried about like me like being gay instead of me being sober. And it's like, first of all, like the place there is to help homeless people get back on their feet and like become citizens. They're not like, they didn't practice 12 steps or anything. Like it was mainly just like learn about God, and like God will help you. But in this case, like I got resentful and that's what kind of pushed me out of there. But I did build a foundation in there. Right. And I was always open-minded. So,
which is very, very cool, and very cool that you're open about it because, first of all, being a gay man and being Christian sort of doesn't mesh.
Oh yeah,
and as you know very well, it's a lot. That's a lot to unpack right there. It's like going from one addiction to another. It's like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, yeah.
But you seem to make it work pretty well for yourself.
Yeah. I used to be the person at like the Pride events who was like yelling at the people preaching that like you're not supposed to be gay. Like I was like absolutely out of control. Like I had so much hatred in my heart. And if it wasn't for finding the program that I found, the way that I found it, which wasn't in a church, mass, or worship on Sunday, then I wouldn't be able to sit here and say that my faith is as strong as it is. Okay. Like it was perfectly put in place. Like every single thing that happened in my life was perfectly articulated to make me believe the way that I believe today. Like nothing happened by accident, right? And today I know I'm like kind of like an outlier, and I don't know what that means yet. But I also, it's like I used to like I needed a label, right? Like who am I?
Okay.
Like I thought it would be the job, or like, I'm a part of a community, like the LGBTQ community, and that's great, right? But like today I'm just Anthony, I'm a servant of God, and whatever else falls underneath that.
And you're a dynamite real estate agent.
Yeah.
You went from
love real estate.
You went from being homeless, living in a rescue, living in squalor conditions at times, sharing a studio apartment with your father.
Both getting high.
Cockroaches
too. We're probably getting high.
6.5 years in recovery now, and you are an amazing real estate agent. I follow your journey because I just need to take the test and I can do the real estate, because I love to talk and I can sell, but I haven't done it yet. But I follow your journey because you're passionate about it. Yeah. Why real estate? Everything you could have done. Why real estate? You could have done anything. I mean, we're addicts. We're good at things. We're good at entrepreneurship. Yeah. But why real estate?
I don't usually share this, so it's kind of funny.
You're going to share it now.
In 2017, when I was in the Bowery, so I was in the Bowery in 2017.
Okay.
I think it was 2017 until, end of 27. Anyway, I came there with a suitcase with dirty clothes and one book. And the book was The Cell by Frederick Eklund, who is on $1 Million Listing.
Yeah.
He like has an insane story, came from like Sweden with a pair of shoes and a dream. Always was a hustler, like sold like, I think mail to his like neighbors and stuff, like newspapers or something. I can't remember exactly. But his story, like I just remember we'd have to get up at a certain time every morning. They'd turn the lights on and you'd be in a bunk bed. I was on the top bunk, and once they turned the lights on, you had to get up, and it was always at 6 a.m.
Out of bed.
Yep. And you had to go downstairs and get ready to, whatever your job was, if you had to help cook, make breakfast, whatever. you'd have to like mop and things like that. If there was code blue, like in the winter, you had to, make sure they pick up all the sleeping bags and like make sure everyone got out and into the world at a certain time. And we had a little bit of downtime, and I would read that book, and I was like, I'm in, the concrete jungle. Like I had like a vision. I was like, I think I can do this. Even though I couldn't wrap my head around it, I had this like conviction, like I'm supposed to be doing real estate. And I didn't know anything else of it. And I didn't do that for quite some time, like until 2021 or 2 due to COVID, and obviously getting sober, like I needed a little bit of time under my belt. And, like I knew that I knew that I knew. I didn't know how. Once again, that like understanding and trusting God is in control. And like, if you have a conviction, just know that it will come to fruition. Just don't try and think it to death on when or how or why.
How long have you been doing real estate now?
This is technically my 4th year.
So roughly 4 years.
Yeah.
And you're killing it. I'm saying it. You don't have to. I mean, your look was like I am, and you didn't want to sound like that person like I am, but you are killing it.
Yeah.
You are doing an amazing job. You're posting what you're selling. I mean, the proof's in what you're doing, How do you feel about your life at this point compared to where you were 6 years ago when you were starting this recovery journey?
I feel like I finally have that purpose, right? Like I know that I'm building a story that needs to be used none other than to help the next person who is in that dark space. I didn't have that growing up. I think that my why is to help show other people that they can break generational curses. And I read that every single morning. And I used to always try and figure out my why. I was in the multi-level marketing in high school, and I thought that was like the thing. And they were always like, you have to find your why. You have to find your why. And I'd be like, yeah, my why is this. My why is that. And it wasn't until like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago that I actually figured out my why. And that was it. Every time I read it, I could be like, wanting to quit, and I'll read that and I'll go run 10 miles. Like it gets me that fired up because I know that is my purpose, and getting into the business, like it happened like perfectly. I didn't have to really do anything. But what I can say is that to see myself where I'm at now, like I would have never been prepared for that if it was given to me and I was not sober and helping other people get sober. That's what I do. Like my success is owed all to God and helping other people get sober. I just focus those two things. Anytime I'm like off the beam, I'm like, all right, I'm not helping enough people. I'm not being present enough. And I'm not connecting with God enough, because when I do that, and I was told always to do that, that's where the success comes. Like, it's like, it's not even a big deal. All those things that I was like, oh my God, I couldn't ever imagine like having those. I have them and they're not that cool. They're just a part of the journey to show other people like, yeah, like you can have your own house and you could make it look amazing, and you can have your dream car at 31
and you have your car?
I have my car.
You have your license back, first of all.
I have my license back.
Which right there in itself, for anybody who doesn't know, when you are in active addiction and you lose your license, getting your license back is like winning the lottery.
Yeah.
Because
I had money to get it back, and my brain was like, nope, not license.
Nope.
I was like, how's that going to help me? I could just have people drive me around.
Yeah.
Or I'll Uber, or I'll ride my bike.
Or I'll have them bring it to me.
Yeah, have them bring it to me. I'll pay extra.
Yeah.
Like what? The insanity. Well, thank God I didn't, because I probably would have killed someone or myself. Another God moment, because I did not need to be driving.
That's the entitlement we have, and we're in addiction.
Yeah.
So you have your dream car now.
Yeah.
You love your car.
Yeah.
That's cool. Awesome. And you're selling homes and you're having a life. You're working out. Mm-hmm. You work out, right?
Yeah.
That's a religious thing you do for yourself, which is definitely solving that body issue.
Yeah. Yeah. On a good day.
On a good day.
It's always going to be there. It's like something, it's just like your disease of addiction is always going to be there. It's just learning how to respond to the way it makes you feel. Right. Mm-hmm. And it's like an everyday battle. Like lately I fell off the beam, like eating like crap. I was doing a year and a half of like rigidity, like kind of treating it the same way I did with drugs and alcohol. And I just, I'm not going to die if I eat a piece of chocolate, right? So it's like, it's easy to justify doing that. And I realized so much, like how much I love the effect produced by sugar, flour, things like that. So like, that's something now I'm like trying to like work through and revisit and, because I don't want the fear of like going back to where I was. Like I was like 50 pounds heavier than this, when I first got sober, I was drinking like a milkshake a night, and like, that's better than obviously getting loaded.
Absolutely. Yeah. But if you're working out, you can drink a milkshake at night. If you work out every day, you do it right, you can. Unlike, the last week where I didn't work out and I was eating like a pint of Ben and Jerry's every night because I was in a depression mode,
Yeah.
And you get to that point, but in 6.5 years, you are living proof that in our month of recovery month right now, recovery is possible.
Oh yeah.
Coming from somebody who was 13 years of age, with no guidance, no support, sort of just figuring it out on your own, following the leads of parents that were also in that and step parents and stuff to where you are now. What's something that if you had a chance to look back and tell young Anthony something, what would you tell that young Anthony?
That's a great question.
Thank you.
I would say that the pain's worth it. I was so scared of suffering, but suffering is absolutely necessary in life. So being able to understand and have a good relationship towards suffering and pain and knowing that it's not in vain, there's a purpose behind it. And the only way you can have that purpose behind it is having a relationship with something spiritual that drives you, that you can submit to and understand is in control. Like if you didn't time when you were popping out of your mom's, then you're not in control.
Right.
Make it as simple as that, right? Like we didn't get to pick when or how or why we're floating on a big rock in the middle of darkness, So like, you just kind of have to like roll with the punches and like, yeah, it all sucked when I was in it, but like, thank God I went through it, because now I have something that I can, like a gift that I've earned through that to be able to pass on to someone else. And hopefully I'll do that for the rest of my life. I only focus on a day at a time, but
it's all right. I love the fact that you said it's a gift that you could pass on to somebody else.
It's such a gift.
That's very poetic. That's a really good way
you
to
understand
look at
it. Like
Absolutely.
just that, just being able to not obsess about how you're going to get the next drink or drug. That obsession being removed. I was always told early on, like it'll be removed. I'm like, when? They're like, just keep doing the stuff that's laid out. You're not anyone special. Keep showing up. Keep living differently, keep praying, and it will be removed. And it was removed. And no, I wasn't that unique, right? And now it's like I get to be able to tell other people, like, yeah, it will be removed.
You're more unique now than you were then.
Yeah, well, I didn't really know what I was. I didn't really know. I was whatever you told me I could, whatever you needed me to be.
You had a lot to deal with, too. I mean, you were dealing with, coming from a home where you were dealing with, addictive parents. Growing up gay is
that was a thing too. Yeah.
Very difficult. It's something that you didn't even touch on that probably underlying somewhere, because let's face it, that's a very difficult thing to grow up, regardless of what age you're in or what, stage you're in, and not just that, trying to figure out everything else, the weight, everything that goes along with it, man, you've arrived.
Yeah.
You've arrived.
I don't have it all figured out, but I just show up and I try and like, who can I help today? Like,
love that.
God, who do you need me to help today? Let me not think about myself for 5 minutes, like.
I love it. So do you do meetings?
Yes.
You do the rooms? You do?
Yeah.
You have a home group and everything?
All the things.
Everything. You do
all
it all.
All the things that we don't want to break with anonymity.
Nah, I hear you. And I ask because I think people don't realize, people think that once you go clean, and I really hate that word, clean.
Yeah.
Because I'm never dirty. I mean, some things like
right,
dirty,
right.
But once you do that, once you hit your sobriety and you start your recovery journey, that's when the real work begins. It is not easy. People are like, oh, it's easy from there. It's harder than it's ever been.
The easiest thing to do is get sober.
Exactly. The hardest thing to do is stay sober.
Yeah.
To work at it.
Especially when you get some time and there's, once you figure out what you suffer from, like with ego and things like that, it's a never-ending battle.
Yeah, the ego just takes over in a different way then, doesn't it? But it's all right, though, because you recognize it.
I'd rather have it take over with, the right sound mind and understand, like, have an awareness of how I'm acting than be unaware and just let it run rampant and affect and ruin everything and everyone around me, you know?
So, you do all these things. You're very focused on your career, which, is a great thing. You should. What do you do for yourself?
Oh,
Don't say workout either. Don't say or bowling. Don't tell me you bowl.
Lately it's been learning to have a good relationship with traveling and gaining new experiences. I used to be like, oh, it's pointless to spend money on a trip. Like, it's not going to make me money. And that's not true. I have gone on 7 trips. This will be my 7th in a couple weeks. In 1 year, I went from, I'm an alcoholic. So I went from not flying in a plane once every 2 years to literally 7 trips.
Every 3 months. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know. It's all or nothing.
Right.
It's all or nothing.
Yeah.
Where are you going? Where's your next?
I'm actually going to Florida.
Okay.
With our recovery group down, our big recovery is really big down there. For people that don't know, I'm going to be going to West Palm. I'm actually house hunting for a second property, and my company, we're working on getting logistics together in God's time. I'm not going to rush it, but I will be the broker of record for my company, Agent 06, down in West Palm.
Love it.
And sell down there as well as up here. So
I used to live in South Florida. I know that recovery community very well.
I love
it's
it.
Big. It's great.
A
lot of people. Cool. A lot of people there. It's. I always tell people, you don't know the biggest gang in the country? Recovery.
Yeah.
Biggest gang there is.
Biggest gang.
So your real estate company, it's Agent 06?
Yes.
Is that what you? So if people want to find you on social media, Instagram, wherever, how would they find you for real estate?
My Instagram handle's anthony.wilson.06.
Anthony.wilson.06.
Yes.
And then you also have an Instagram for your real estate for Agent 06. Do you have still?
Yes.
You have that too?
It's Get Agent 06.
Get Agent 06.
Yep. And we're an awesome company. They fell in my lap. I wish I had time to kind of jump into it, but they fell on my lap. It was all God. I just was like, God, I know I'm supposed to get into real estate. I know it's time. I just don't want to be put in the drugs, infidelity, all the things, like the low bar being set in a lot of the industry, to be honest with you. And I found this company. Well, God pushed me into it. And now I'm the team lead of the whole entire company. And, our mantra is service over sales, and all of our signs say love your neighbor. So it fit right with my Christian values.
Wow.
Without even having to try. I just was like, I surrender. I don't know what's going to happen. I know that you'll look out for me. Right. And it fell on my lap. I was waiting tables and I waited on my broker, who has now been my broker for almost 4 years and taught me everything I know. And, and that's where, and we're on our way.
Well, your passion is there for sure.
Yeah.
On social media, I see that. And like I said, we never have enough time in an hour to unpack everything we want to unpack.
Worries.
And that's why I always want to say to people, you're always welcome to come back.
Oh, I'm in.
The invite's there because you have so much to share and so much to offer. If there's so many people that are out there still during this, during National Recovery Month, there's so many people out there that are still struggling, still going through it. What's something you could tell them why they're going through it? What's some words of advice? Not even wisdom, just advice.
I mean, you have to ask for help. You can't do it alone. It's impossible. It's impossible.
Have you gotten better at asking for help, Anthony?
A little bit.
A little bit. I honestly, I could picture you still having a little bit of a tougher exterior there with that. Like, I don't need your help. I got this.
I'm right. Not, progress, not perfection. I am not perfect.
And you admit that then too.
I admit all my faults, flaws, all the things today. Like, I'm free. I'm at peace. And I actually love the person who I look into the mirror at, which is a blessing, So
I love that. That's actually a really good place for us to sort of close, because not many people can say that when they look in the mirror that they love the person they see.
Yeah.
So hearing you say that, my friend, means that you have arrived. Yeah. Because it takes a lot to recognize that. So I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah,
that really was like, I sort of got chills when you said that.
It took time.
Because I always say the day that I went and I said this is enough is when I looked in the mirror, I didn't know that person. Yeah. I didn't like that person. Now I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh yeah, that scar, that's it. I'm okay with that. Yeah. So it's cool to hear that.
It's awesome. Everyone deserves it in life. So
amazing. Well, I'm so glad that we had this chance for you to come over here to unpack a little bit of what we did. I mean, there was a lot there.
There was a lot.
And you shared. And I think your story is really an instruction manual for somebody else coming up. So I'm hoping somebody listens to this and sees this and says, I want to reach out to Anthony because I understand everything from the weight to the family to everything.
Yeah.
And your story is definitely one to inspire. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, this has been great.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. So everybody, if you want to follow Anthony, it's anthony.wilson.06. That's on Instagram. GetAgent06 on Instagram. Anthony Wilson on regular social media for Facebook. And
TikTok.
I appreciate TikTok too.
No TikTok.
See, no TikTok. I don't do TikTok.
I'll go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I just can't do that.
I'm too old for TikTok.
I'm way old for TikTok. You kidding? I'm still doing Atari Pong. You kidding? Come on now. So
yeah, awesome.
But thank you so much for being here.
Of course.
And everybody, there is hope. Don't ever give up hope. There's 2 people sitting here right now that are living proof that recovery is possible and it does work. So remember, whatever it is you stand for, be a voice. This is Brick Carpenter on Usula Media. Have a great rest of your day.